Hey guys, what is going on? It is Brooke, or the Undead DM. I'm back at it again with another episode of Homebrew Review, and this time we are going to be going over the third subclass of the Pugilist by Benjamin Huffman, known as Dog and Hound. And if you guys haven't seen the Pugilist class video and my general thoughts on it, then I would suggest going to check that out first before continuing. And after you watch this video, maybe go check out the other subclass reviews for the Pugilist to determine if this is something you'd want to play in your next game. Without further ado, let's get started. So, Dog and Hound is the companion subclass. This is basically the Beastmaster Ranger if the Beastmaster Ranger was less good. So, at level 3, you get Brawler's Best Friend. You make friends with a hound, and the hound gets its own stat block. You determine how it looks, I assume. Based on that, it can look like whatever you want. It uses your proficiency bonus in some places. You determine what breed of dog or similar canine creature. And in combat, it shares your initiative. It takes its turn immediately after you. It can move and use its reaction on its own, but the only action it takes on its turn is dodge, unless you use your bonus action to command it. We're gonna get to that. The action can be one in its stat block or some other action. If you're incapacitated, the Hound will take any action of its choice, not just dodge. And if you spend a minute giving your Hound attention and treats, it will regain 2d6 hit points, and if your Hound dies, you can, if it has died within an hour, you can revive it by coaxing it back from the threshold of beyond with praise, and you can also use an action to touch the Hound and expend a number of hit dice equal to half of your Pugilist level to revive it, provided you are within 5 feet. The Hound returns to life after 1 minute with all of its hit points restored. If your Hound dies or is otherwise unavailable, you could forego, or you can forge a new bond with a new dog over 8 hours, and that's it. So it's got very similar problems, where as the Beastmaster Ranger, where you're having to use your bonus action to command it to attack instead of it just acting on its own accord, or commanding it being a free action. The fact that it heals so little over the course of a minute is not that bad, and the fact that you can spend your own hit dice to revive it, I guess, is okay. Gives another resource to your hit die, but that's losing your resources in order to bring back a meat shield. As much as people don't like to hear it, the Beastmaster companion and the Dog and Hound companion are just basically meat shields. They are meant to take attention away from the people that need to be in the fight. It's similar to conjure animals. You don't really care about the animals if they die in the fireball because you still wasted their spell slot for it. So similarly, if your companion dies, you can always just get another one. Yeah, it sucks, and it's a fun roleplay moment, because now you guys can mourn over the loss of a dog, but mechanically, it's just a meat shield. It doesn't really do much else. And that's about it. Again, if it just commanded as a bonus action, or as a free action, sorry. If it was a free action to command it, that would be fine. Also at 3rd level, you get Mutt with Moxie. And basically, whenever you use one of your Moxie points to do anything, your Mutt gets the same things. So when you use Brace Up, your Hound gains the same number of temporary hit points. If you use the old one too, the Hound can make one or both attacks instead of you. So basically, you can punch a guy in his face twice, and then you can use the old one too to have your dog bite him. And then Stick and Move, when you use it, your Hound can take the dash action. That's it. It can just take the dash action. It's whatever. You don't have to spend any additional Moxie to use it, and there's no range limiter, so you can literally do this from across the map. literally 600 feet away and it still works. So it's quite fun. It's quite funny. But moving on. Level 6, you get Coordinated Attack. When you use the attack action on your turn, if your Hound can see you, you can use its reaction to make a bite attack. So if the Hound is within sight of you, you can use your Hound's reaction to bite somebody. That's it. It's not really much of a coordinated attack. This would just be better if it was like pack tactics, where both of you gain advantage on hitting the target if you guys are within 5 feet of the same creature, and you guys get maybe a bonus to damage or something. Just using its reaction to make an attack is... Hound's best friend. Like I've said in 2 previous videos, at level 11, this needs to be a damage buff. If it doesn't increase your damage, you're falling behind. So let's see what it does. When a creature deals damage to your Hound with an attack, you can use your reaction to make an opportunity attack against that creature if you are within range. Okay, we'll cover that a little bit later. And there's the stat block, I'll go over that in just a second. And finally, at 17th level, you get Off the Chain. When your Hound takes damage that reduces its current hit points to half its maximum or less, you can use your reaction to let your Hound off the chain. When you do so, it immediately gains temporary hit points equal to 4 times your Pugilist level, and for the next minute, so for 1 minute, its speed increases by 15 feet, and it can take the bite or dodge action each turn that you don't command it. And once you use it, you can't do it again until you finish a long rest. Okay. So Brawler's Best Friend, like I said, it needs to be a free action, because you're once again wasting your defensive options in the form of Stick and Move and Brace Up to command a dog that isn't going to do more damage than you. It's not. It's never going to do more damage than you. It's never going to do more damage than anybody. It's just meant to be a meat shield. And that's... commanding it as a bonus action and losing out on those things is not a good thing. Mutt with Moxie, sure, it's fine. Personally, I would make it so that Brace Up's fine. The same number of temporary hit points is fine. The old 1-2, I would just make it so it can make 2 attacks, and you can also make 2 attacks, where the Mutt can make the same number of attacks. It's not going to break the game. It does 2d4 plus your proficiency bonus damage each hit. It's not going to break the bank. And Stick and Move, specify it, because right now it just says your Mutt can take the dash action. Okay, but Stick and Move's a bonus action, so does it get the ability to take the dash action as a bonus action? Is it a reaction? Because it needs to specify. Because right now it just makes it sound like it basically gets an additional action before your turn even starts. And also, one thing I forgot about Brawler's Best Friend, it needs to have its own turn entirely, as opposed to you commanding it to use its action. It needs to have its own action, bonus action, and reaction that it can use of its own free will. Coordinated attack doesn't do enough. I think it needs a little bit more in terms of a damage boost with the 2, because it's kind of putting you in a flanking position of 1 versus 2, and having a coordinated attack is... it just doesn't help all that much. And again, Hound's Best Friend, it doesn't give you a damage boost. It needs damage. And 17th level, it's fine, but the fact that it has the same stipulations as it has to take damage that reduces its current hit points to half of its maximum or less, and then you have to use your reaction to give it temporary hit points equal to, at this point, 17th level, obviously. So with that, it gives you 17 times 4. I think that's little, like 70 something, 60 something. So you're giving it 60 some odd temporary hit points. And it can make a single attack without your command, or the dodge action without your command. Wow, so game breaking. This is totally worth losing the ability to to turn an ally into a fire-breathing dragon for an entire hour. Yeah, this is totally the same power level here. It's not. It really isn't. It it just needs more. Sure, it gets more tanky, but it needs more than just this. Maybe allow it to make 4 attacks in a turn. Make it so that the damage is higher. Make it so that, I don't know, just give it something. Something other than just, hey, you get 15 additional movement speed, you get temporary hit points, and you can finally attack without using your master's bonus action each turn. So now we're going to go over the stat block. So it's medium. It has 12 plus your proficiency bonus AC, pretty standard. So at maximum, this is going to have 18 AC. It has 3 hit points plus 5 times your pugilist level. And the Hound has a number of hit dice equal to your pugilist level in d8s. So 5 times your pugilist level. It's going to have at maximum 103 HP. So it's already going to be less than everyone else in the party. And that's about it. It has a speed of 40 feet, that's fine. Pretty low stats, all things considered. Plus 2 plus proficiency bonus, 2 plus proficiency bonus, 2 plus proficiency bonus, saving throws and strength, con, and dex. Athletics, perception, and survival are plus 2, plus 1, plus 1, and then plus proficiency bonus on all of them. It cannot be charmed or frightened. It has dark vision out to 60 feet. It has 11 plus proficiency bonus, passive perception. It has advantage on perception checks that rely on hearing or sound. And, oh, my bad. Okay, the wolf does have pack tactics. That does make it a little bit better. It does make it, actually makes it significantly better than it was before. Still losing out on a bit of damage, though. Arcane Bite, your bites become magical at level 6. And then the bite attack, it has proficiency bonus times 2 to hit, so you get at maximum plus 6 to hit, or plus 12 to hit. It's one target. It deals 2d4 plus proficiency bonus, so on average it's dealing 11 points of piercing damage, because a d4 is 2.5 on average. And if it's a creature, it must succeed a strength save against 8 plus proficiency to plus 2 times. Sorry, 8 plus proficiency times 2, so that's 12, meaning they have to succeed at maximum a DC 20 strength check, strength saving throw, or be grappled by the Hound or knocked prone. You get to choose because, you know, the dog, it is under your control. It has basically more armor than you at maximum, which is sad. It has less HP than you. It moves faster than you for most of the game. And overall, it just has better abilities than you. Now, if you were a kobold and you had pack tactics with your Hound, this would be pretty fun. But overall, this is just a very... It's not one of the weaker subclasses because you still get a body on the board. But the fact that you are sacrificing your subclass to get a body on the board, and the body is this weak, it doesn't do a lot of damage, it can't really tank a lot of hits, and the only way it can tank a lot of hits is either you use your brace up ability to bolster your own poor defenses, or you reach 17th level, which is never going to happen, and you give it like 70 temporary hit points, which does boost it to roughly the same amount that you would probably have at this point, if not slightly less. But the fact that you have to wait till that point in order to use that ability, and it still does like 11 points of damage on average, is not good. This needs, like, Brawler's Best Friend needs to be a free action to command it, and it needs its own turn. Mutt with Moxie, Stick and Move needs to clarify its wording. The old one, too, just needs to give the Mutt 2 additional attacks. Coordinated attack needs to do something more. Hound's Best Friend needs to needs to give it more damage. And 17, this off the chain feature, it needs to be stronger. DMs or people who make this homebrew are just too scared to give marshals really strong capstone abilities for their subclasses or the classes because they're afraid they're going to be too strong. This needs to be strong. They are marshals. They are so much weaker than their spellcaster counterparts that they need this. Literally, just make this so that your Hound goes to full HP. They're immune to all damage for a minute. They get their damage die increases to like a D10. They get to make 4 attacks a turn. It just needs to do something different. Anyway, that is all I have for you today. On the next episode, we are going to be covering the Hand of Dread, and we're going to go over that, see how well that goes. But if you guys like the video, comment, tell me what I could do to make this show better. Leave a like, and subscribe. Thank you.